My name is Olivia Harmon, and today I will be talking with Ed Brown. Ed is the founder and lead instructor for Core Edge Police Professional Development. Today we will be discussing the benefits of Core Edge Police Professional Development to police leaders. Let's get started. Ed, have you been very critical about the way police chiefs give interviews on TV? Why is that?
Well, I won't say critical. I think we do a better job. It's too many times when I saw chiefs either flub it all together or wasn't articulate or wasn't engaging enough. And maybe the latter is the point. They weren't engaging enough. So I want to see them become more engaging and show more of their personalities and more of their voice and bring people in when they can actually give the story or the information they have to give to the public.
So I almost hear you saying that you felt like that they were just passionate.
Disconnected. I've done independent surveys asking, when you see a chief of police, what generally speaking do you say? Well, it sounds like something from Dragnet. Just the facts, ma'am, just the facts. Mm-hmm. And I said, well, what would you want to hear more from your chief of police? Well, we understand that it's a paramilitary organization, but we saw more passion, more engagement, more persuasion when it comes to the information they can give. They realize they can't give all the information out because the evidence or the case is still formulating the evidence and moving forward. But for the most part, they say they want more engaging, more inspiring talk from their chiefs of police.
Now, why do you think police chiefs began giving speeches that way, in such a detached way?
Well, from my information in talking to chiefs of police as well as people in communication sector of departments, they have media training in their orientation to be a new police chief. But for the most part, they don't get a whole lot of public speaking or persuasion or inspiration type information to be persuasive, inspiring. So it started out, again, just being objective and stodgy and not showing emotions because y'all, meaning the society, wanted focused, mostly detached people. We want people who don't necessarily get engaged and raised emotionally. So that started it, but now we're in a society whereby we want personality, we want engagement, we want inspiration, we want persuasion.
Okay, so if you were conducting a persuasive speaking workshop right now, right here today, and I was a police chief or a member of a command staff, what advice would you give me for giving a persuasive speech? Okay,
so let's say that you are speaking to the public as a neighborhood planning unit, and they're outraged about maybe there's a lot of break-ins happening in the community. They want the chief of police to give us some answers. First thing I would, if I was the chief, training them on this concept, being persuasive, first you said, here's the problem. You identify the problem, you tell a story. You know, I used to live about 5 blocks down from here when I grew up as a little boy, and I remember a time that things weren't as crime-ridden or chaotic as it is today. You start the story and you relate to them on a story level, and then you talk about the problem. The problem today is things have changed. People aren't the same they used to be. They don't feel the same. People aren't looking at the doors like they used to. No one is checking the kids as they once upon a time. There's no more community. And then you talk about how the problem got there. It got there because we became lax, irresponsible. Finally, you say the solution is this: we're going to do our job, but now we need to commune so we can do the job together. No longer can we do this by ourselves, we need you. And then you talk about the benefits. The benefits are now we can have a relationship. We can monitor better. We can come by and have a real community where we're involved and you're involved. And then you give a call to action. So I'm asking you, if you see anything, activate that neighborhood watch program again. That's been dead for the last 5 or 10 years. Start doing things that will allow people to be a community again, so that not only will we rid out the crime that has been pervasive for the last few months, that we actually become a family and a community again. See, when you have that kind of thing, the people feel like, oh my God, we can be a family again. You give them hope, you inspire them, you bring them in, you give them solutions, but you also give responsibility in terms of how this works, because you can't make police departments and police officers your father or a patriarchal reality and think it's going to change when society has changed. So you got to kind of fuse that back. Yes, we'll be there, we're going to do our job, but we need your help.
Now, would the same method of speaking and giving speeches apply for a condolence or an inspirational speech?
The objective is the same. You're not persuading, you're actually assuaging or decreasing the pain. And the way you do that is, first you have to understand who that person was. I recall too many times when I was with the Atlanta Police Department, we had a police funeral, and the chief would get up, and officer would be whispering, "Hey, if I ever die on the job, do not let anyone above a lieutenant speak." And that was the feeling, because when they got up, it was reading from the notes, very detached. He was a great officer. He fought the great fight. All his people loved him, but they never went to go talk to the family and talk to the stories that people who worked with him could have told about. So the inspirational speech is to not only deal with the pain so we can release it as a society, as a department, but also to give us something to look forward to the future. So in the darkest hour of a police department, the police chief and command staff can be saviors if they knew how to be inspirational as well as decreasing the pain at that point in time. And so with this training, it allows them to be able to move in different sectors and situations and venues and be that individual who knows exactly what to say at that time. And you can't wait till it happens and say, okay, let me find somebody and start talking. You got to prepare way before that time. So this training allows them to be prepared. It's going to happen regardless, whether it's the situation on the street or some dastardly deed like the bombing in Boston or the shooting in LAX in Los Angeles. Something's going to happen because society is changing. You hope it doesn't happen, but if it does happen, you need to be prepared.
Okay, how has your advice been received by police department heads?
I got a call from funny you would ask that question, I got a call from a police chief who is one of my clients and attended one of my workshops in the past. And a small town in South Carolina. A town you would never think anything would happen in. Apparently there was a shooting, 6 people got killed. It made the news in Atlanta 24 hours later. He gave information and advice to one of the persons who was in charge. He says, you're going to have to talk to the media eventually. So you might as well get your ducks in a row, determine what message you're going to talk about, and make sure you deal with the constituents that you're going to speak to, the family, the public, the department. And he said because he came to our workshop, that's how he learned how to do it. And I got a smile on my face and actually a tear in my eye, because now he's sharing information with other heads. But invariably, the heads have to come and get it themselves, because they're, again, once they have the wherewithal to make it happen, when it happens, then you may not know what to do.
Okay, now what would you say to police chiefs to encourage them to become better public speakers?
The day of I'll send it to my police spokesperson, they'll handle it over. Employee furloughs, injuries, officer deaths, and budget cuts require the chief of police to stand up and say, hey, here's what's going on, this is how long it's going on, and this is what we're doing. Bear with us, we all this one for all for one type thing. You can't give it to your police spokesman to talk about it, because at that point you're dispassionate. You got where's the face of this situation? Where's our leader? And so we have to understand that's necessary more now than ever. Secondly, because you are the face of that jurisdiction globally, then you have to have those skills. And thirdly, society is calling for you to be more connected. Once upon a time, CEOs of corporations, multinationals, you didn't know who they were. You know who Jack Welch was. As the 80s came about, we started saying we want to face with that brand, with that company. I think as time goes on, you're going to see more people saying we want to face with that jurisdiction or that police department.
Well, thank you again, Mr. Brown. You've been very insightful today.
Thank you.